My mother told me the only reason I was born was because the condom broke.
Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you are sleeping. Viewers have been rooting for the patients who are appearing on TLC's reality TV series My 600-Pound Life to get some help from Dr. No to succeed on their weight loss journeys, and now it's literally a decade since this show is telecasting. It's up to their determination and a totally different concept, whether they made a change by turning their lives around or whether they choose a healthy life by quitting unhealthy bad eating habits. On the show, there was no case of the patients that have ever featured who had ever come without its bumps on the road. Therefore, in today's video, you are looking back at extreme cases of My 600-Pound Life that shocked the viewers. Christina Phillips. When Christina appeared in the show, she was only 22 years old, weighing in at 640 pounds. Well, her life had gotten to a point where she would prefer to only leave the house at 3 a.m., as it was unlikely that you would bump into people at midnight. Christina even had started gaining weight when she was a child. Actually, her parents used to fight a lot, and for that, she made up her mind that she's the one who is responsible for taking care and providing protection for her siblings. Even though she was just 17 by that devastating time, she was already close to 400 pounds. But at the age of 18, things literally got really worse because Christina got her first lymphedema, and therefore, she totally became dependent on her mother and her husband Zach, who had to take care of her daily activities. Well, after the very first appointment with Dr. No, Christina struggled a lot of losing 40 pounds. Not just that, until her next meeting with the famous surgeon, she actually gained 17 pounds. And even after that, things didn't get much better because she was surrounded by people who even brought her fast food into the hospital. So when Dr. No got to know about this, he had made her commit to stick to a 1,000-calorie diet. In the first year of her journey, Christina eventually managed to shed 266 pounds right after her gastric bypass surgery. Not only this, she was so determined to lose weight that she finally made things better by moving out of her family's house after another year of her surgery by getting separated from her enabler husband and by starting living with her new boyfriend. After that new change in her life, she finally underwent one of the most shocking transformations in the history of the show, and she ended up losing so much weight that Dr. No actually advised her to gain at least 15 pounds back just to be at a more healthy level. Shea Guillory. Well, when we talk about the extreme cases, then we can't miss to add Shea's story, as she was one of the most dramatic transformations on the show that came in season 3. She had lost a total of 119 pounds when Shea Guillory first appeared at the end of her debut episode, which was enough to bring her under the 500-pound mark then. Well, she was down to 379 pounds, showing continued and consistent success on her weight loss journey by the end of her first follow-up episode. However, not just that, as she presented viewers with another surprise by coming out as transgender and began to live her life as a woman during her episode. Viewers also learned that she was ready for skin removal surgery in another one of Guillory's follow-up episodes. But she also announced in an Instagram post that she was engaged to her boyfriend Patrick, and now revealed that she had gotten married earlier this year. LaShonta White. In season 7, LaShonta got featured on the show when she first met with Dr. No in Houston. At that time, she weighed 662 pounds, and as her weight was so much, therefore, she had been bedridden for 2.5 years. During her whole appointment, LaShonta, a mother of 4 kids, kept promising throughout her appointment sessions that she'd never disappoint Dr. No and would stick to the diet plan. But God knows what literally changed her mind, because she didn't keep her own promise, not even to herself. Even she started making a lot of lame excuses. Well, when LaShonta eventually came back after 6 months, after the first appointment, she looked quite out of shape because her whole body was in quite a worse condition. Therefore, her health issues, which got worse when her body became out of shape. So Dr. No actually made up his mind and finally decided to keep her in the hospital for a month. Then he discharged LaShonta after assigning her a weight loss goal of 100 pounds in 2 months. But do you know, when she came back, she had only lost 3 pounds, so Dr. No said to her that she would quit the program. However, LaShonta kept asking him to give her another chance, but the bariatric surgeon didn't listen to her. He told her that she could start again after losing 50 pounds on her own. You must be thinking that Dr. No might have seemed a little too strict to her, but it was actually a wake-up call, because otherwise, she would keep making excuses, and that way was the only tactic that could make her understand that trying to manipulate everyone around her wouldn't be a good gesture that could help her lose weight. When she came back to Dr. No, eventually after that strict warning, she finally managed to shed the weight, and he happily welcomed her back to the program. Brandy and Candy twins. The most motivating natives of Washington, Candy and Brandy Dreyer, were 29-year-old twins when both went to Dr. No because their weight had ballooned out of control. Both twin sisters struggled throughout their lives with their weight. Brandy weighed 588 pounds and Candy's weight was almost 600 pounds. Actually, they started to find comfort in food as a defense mechanism because both had been sexually abused by their father's friend. But fortunately, in the end, they had happy results. Candy genuinely made a full recovery, and both almost lost more than 200 pounds. They gave advice to people who want to lose weight. They said they just need to stay focused, and if they really want it, it can happen. On the follow-up show, Candy revealed she was pregnant and happily married. On the other hand, Brandy, as being a loving aunt, posts pictures of her adorable niece and nephew often on her media accounts, and in 2020, she made her relationship with a woman named Ruth. The sisters' apparent happiness is a huge leap from their anxiety issues and past traumas. Jean Covey. Let's talk about this 39-year-old woman who lives in Texas. She first featured on Season 7, Episode 11 on My 600-Pound Life. When she met Dr. No, she was at her peak weight of 702 pounds, and she began her year-long weight loss journey. She believes that the reason behind being this big is because of her terrible childhood experience. She did not only go through the consequences of her parents' divorce, but she's also sexually abused at a very young age. Her mother confirmed that when she was 5 years old, she began stealing snacks from her terrible grandmother for taking revenge. You can guess easily that if a person steals snacks, he must be crazy. On her way to the hospital, she asked to stop for rest, but not for stretching her legs or lying in the back seat. She was just craving a soda, not for a medium one, a big soda. Well, that's not the end. Jean started having the worst phases of life. Her mother fell ill, and she has to go through this gastric surgery alone. But you know, what exactly did she do to make things right? She ended up suing My 600-Pound Day production company, saying that the company didn't fulfill its promise to pay the medical expenses. She even claimed that they said no to filming the show, but they were forced to do that. Isn't her case quite extreme to handle? Maybe yes. Brittany Fulfer. Brittany Fulfer was introduced on Season 4 of My 600-Pound Life. She was at her heaviest at 605 pounds and most depressed. She revealed the heartbreaking childhood when she was sexually abused at the age of 5, and it continued for another 6 years, which led her on her path of binge eating. Brittany described life in her body as pain and sadness. She even called herself the most disgusting thing in the world. She added, "Every single day I look in the mirror and I'm like, what did you do to yourself?" But when she met Dr. No, she was put on a strict diet and told to exercise more. Luckily, she started to shed pounds and become one of the doctor's biggest success stories. Brittany was down to 365 pounds and saved her marriage as she had become physically intimate with her husband, Bill. A year later, on the follow-up show, Where Are They Now?, Brittany revealed that she managed to drop over 100 pounds and weighed in at just 272 pounds. She even announced that she and Bill wanted to try to have a baby. Tracy Matthews. When Tracy Matthews featured on the show, she was 44 years old grandma who was in one of the most tragic cases of lymphedema and cellulitis in the history of the whole show. In 2017, she was weighing 605 pounds when she first appeared as a contestant, and her health was not stable enough to undergo gastric bypass surgery until she shed almost 100 pounds. Well, the main problem was that her legs were the ones who stored her 400 pounds. At first, her husband Anthony used to take care of her, lifting her up so she could do her daily activities and get out of bed. But things got changed and became so worse for Tracy when her husband refused to take her to a much-needed medical checkup and started eating the prohibited food in front of her. According to him, he wanted that if his wife needed to get better, then she would learn to be more self-reliant. Fortunately, she managed to lose weight and underwent surgery, which helped her to control her lymphedema, and her relationship with her husband had become better afterwards. Well, that's all guys for today with extreme cases of my 600-pound life. Thank you for watching the video.